What's up, everybody? Welcome to Grow with Dezi. I am your host, Coach Dezi, and I'm super excited to be here with you again for my live stream. If this is your first time joining with me, thank you so much. I want to give Facebook an opportunity to let people know that I'm live. I've got a very special interview that I'm doing tonight, and I am super excited about it. I will tell you more in just a second. Let me get this thing shared and going. And if you are joining me for the first time, please, let me know who you are. Say hello in the comments. Say hello in the comments and let me know where in the world you are joining from. It would be so awesome to know where in the world you are joining from. We've had people on this live stream from all over the world: Singapore, Curacao, here in the United States, in Belize, my mother's home country, just all over the world, and I'm super excited about that. Tonight, I have a very, very special guest. This is a dear friend of mine. And I'm going to introduce her just a little bit, and then when we get into our conversation, she can share a little bit more about herself. So Ms. Meika Nwaomah, she is the founding science educator who has done curriculum development for Da Vinci Rise High, and she's going to tell you a little bit more about the high school that she works at. She's an educator, she's a leader, she has a double bachelor's. Like, she didn't just do one when she graduated, she had to go and do two, because that's just the kind of people that, like, I keep around me, right? So she graduated with a double bachelor's in both the science, a bachelor of science in biology, and then she got a bachelor's of art in music. So you got an educator who does both science and art. Get excited. And then she went on to USC and got her master's in teaching. Tons of experience, and we're going to dive into, if you notice, the title of this live is called How I Realized My Purpose and Landed on Mars. Who does that, right? So that is the title of our live today. So I'm not going to waste any more time. Let me go ahead and bring Meika on. Meika, thank you so much for joining me today, friend.
Woo.
I'm so excited.
KC in the house. No.
Exactly. Oh, yes, I forgot, you guys. She's from Kansas City, Missouri, and she's
Yes.
here in California. So I am super excited that you're here, Meika. And thank you for saying yes. Thank you for
No
saying yes for
problem.
this interview. So, for those of you that have joined, if you have, I see Terry. Oh, hello. We've got some people on here tonight. Terry is saying hello. She's excited about tonight's session. She is from Riverside, California, so she's right here in my own hometown. And I've got my dear friend Sharice Irons, who's actually a former assistant vice principal or vice principal, high school. So she's done a lot. She's an educator as well. So I'm so glad that you're here, Sharice. So, Meika, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, besides all the stuff that I already said.
Yeah, I'm like, well, how do I add? No, I'm just like, I love talking about myself. I'm an introvert, extrovert. So it's Cancer. I'm a Cancer as well. So there's so many emotions built in one. But no, I would like to say a lifelong learner, which has allowed me to be one of I would say, a reflective educator. So while I actually was getting my master's in from USC, I was also being a music educator. And so that was the passion that I had. Um, and I was able to teach not only voice and piano, but I worked with students as young as 3 years old, all the way up to having some high school students as well as adult students, and just have always shared my passion for educating and curating learning experiences, whether that would be with music or with science. I've also helped out with various organizations and um, churches where I've done leadership and volunteering. Sorry, guys, I'm at a place with a friend of my dog, but allowing myself to kind of just utilize my experience and see where it fits, and saying yes when the opportunity comes for me to help lead out and create and curate these experiences that, again, just make me a better educator and lifelong learner.
Oh, I love it. You've got some folks that are saying, educators rock, and Sharice says the best kind of educator is a reflective educator,
Yes.
and boy, do we need that right now.
Yes.
And okay, so you guys, do you guys hear that? She is a science educator as well as a music educator. You have two different spectrums. How,
Yes.
how do they fit together, Mika? Share a little bit about that.
Well, we have, I guess that is also where the aspect of my lifelong learner came into play. I've always tried to see how music can relate. I did have to go to music and learn like a traditional classical trained way of looking at music, which is very different from my background of being a, um, R&B, gospel, let's be frank, black musician.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to problem solve. I had to apply the skills and the research that I did in the science classroom, and I had to apply it to my music education. And so um, as we're going to continue to go into it, I had the opportunity to work at JPL. That is basically one of the one of the areas for um, NASA. It's not where the astronauts get, sent into space, but it is where they normally send out the satellites or the rovers that are on various planets doing research. And so, um, the way that I look at science and music is the idea of creativity. I teach my students that, science is everywhere, just like we have creativity and imagination being everywhere. The music side of me is more or less finding that passion. A musician is ultimately always going to display their passion. If they don't want to sing opera or gospel, they will pick and choose. I had to learn all theater, gospel, opera. I had to learn all those experiences, but I also made the choice to focus on one as my focus. But with science, you could do the same thing. You have biologists, you have chemists, you have physics. But the beautiful thing is that they all go together, and that's what I was able to experience at NASA is how all three or all four areas of science actually come together, and it then bleeds into this idea that you're not alone. Like you may think that you're an island by yourself, but in every field, in any experience, at any point of your life, you literally are in a collaborative relationship. And you got to learn how to work with people. You have to learn how to take what you're expert on and be able to sit back and listen and be able to also speak and know when to add. And so, with all that being said, science is at the base of music, and music creativity is at the base of science.
Oh, I love that. I love how you tied those two together and how they work together. That is so powerful. So tell us a little bit about what you're currently doing, the learning environment that you currently work in.
Yeah, so I work at Da Vinci Rise High, which is a charter school out in LA. We are an LA County charter. We are the only ones right now that is underneath LACO, which is the Department of Education. And so, because of that, and what we mean by a county charter is that we're able to serve the whole Los Angeles County. And so, what's great about that is this year we have a third location. So, I currently teach at the South Central location with our partnership with a place called Home. I also am teaching at the Hawthorne location, which is um, closer to our sister schools, Da Vinci Rise or Da Vinci School Network, as well as now we have our third site, which is in Culver City, and it is with our partner New Earth. And majority of those students are coming from a probation background, and that's kind of the foundation, or you could say majority rather than minority of our students. They either are within the probation, foster youth, and or students that are transitioning out of those areas that are also having to deal with that might be dealing with housing instability or again things out of their um, control that are happening to them that
Right.
make it difficult or have made it difficult for them to complete their high school diploma. And so
So I
I have
think
the
this is.
pleasure. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. So I think this is. I did want to make sure that people get this. So the school that you work in now, they cater to a very specific population. So we've
Yes.
got, you mentioned probationary kids, um, kids that have some sort of housing type of situation where they need to go to school, but at the same time there's some sort of challenges at home. And then you guys also serve homeless youth, right?
And
So,
foster.
and
Yep.
homeless and foster youth. So in that environment, I I would believe that, and based on the conversations that we've had in the past, there's a certain type of personality, skill set, leadership ability that you have to have, right?
Mhm.
Specifically, not only dealing with the student population and all of the nuances that come along with such a special group, but at the same time working with peers and having to lead and lead well. I didn't mention this earlier, everyone. Today on Mondays are called Mastery Moments. And so the reason why this is so incredibly important is that I know, based on, of course, Meika and I, we've known each other for several years, there have been skills that she's had to master and learn and pull out on strengths. And so being able to talk about that, you mentioned NASA a little bit earlier. We're going to jump into that shortly after. But tell us a little bit more about, the skill set, the personality, the strengths that you've had to have as a leader to work with the population that your school serves.
Yeah, so what's been the transition? It's a happy transition, I would say, because I am a reflective teacher and also just knowing our school is grounded on this idea of rethinking high school and rethinking education. So, like you said, it does take a unique group of people to take on that challenge while also um, learning to collaborate. While that is a huge part of who I am, those would be my values of a collaboration and accountability. Um, in this work, it's those values in themselves and my serve as strengths because whenever we again get new staff or even as a founding staff when we were all together, it was like, hey, let's hold each other accountable to this idea of a rethinking education. We don't want to look like the systems that have oppressed and kept our students and brought them to our school for the reasons that they came. How do we continue to fight? And even in this time that people are doing like the anti-racist work or anti-black work, it's like you do need that accountability set of saying like it's not a one done, it's fixed thing. It's like how do you continue to have systems and protocols and continue to make sure it's a self-work journey as well as the whole organization doing it. Um, I really hone in on being a strategic person. So nothing that I do, especially when it comes to curating the learning experiences and the relationships that I build, none of it is for the benefit of mine. I have something else in mind. So I'll give an example. I am, as you know, I'm like a people person. I'm bubbly. People are attracted to me, and I'm all like, yeah, I love talking about myself. So that means I love talking about what I'm passionate about. And within that, I want to say I always, but you guys, I literally always end up leaving within a network experience, leaving with a person in mind that I'm like, hey, this is going to be perfect for A, Y, and Z. And it's like in the moment, I'm chatting it up, and I'm like, in reality, we won't probably connect this year, but next year. Or in reality, it's not going to be this month, but maybe a few months down. I had the pleasure of doing that for my students and allowing about over 15 boys that again they mix with either having probationary backgrounds or they're super deficient in their credits, and just not having that much exposure to educate pathways after high school. I was able to take them to LA Barber College, and we were able to really hear and learn about how science is grounded, biology and chemistry is grounded and at the foundation of lab or barbering, and how that expectation of what they're learning in high school right now can help them if they go down that path. And so for me, my strategic and my intentionality when it comes to things that I seek out, networking that I do, the collaboration that I do, not only with my peers, but also with possible partners, it's all for the betterment of the school, but also for the curriculum and the learning experiences that I want to take on. I never look at, I guess you could say, the idea that there's no stupid question. I look at it as there's no stupid job or connection. I'm like, I'm gonna make it work. And like, if I like you, yeah, come and talk
Right.
to my kids.
Right. So, okay, so you have to be obviously a great communicator, collaborator, problem solver, strategic, a networker. You obviously have to like people. You have to like what you can't even like what you do in the space that you operate in. You really have to have a love and a passion for what it is that you're doing because it's so outside of the traditional school environment, right? So there's some comments here. Let's see here. This is a long one. Terry says, let's see if I can add this on here. That is a set of children that need people to believe in them, to see past their protective shells, and to show them possibilities that they can reach for. So happy to hear this. The blessings of teaching these kids will show sometimes many years from now. Oh, sorry. It says here, you are in for some wonderful surprises. You may not know how much of a difference you make. Just know you do, you will, and you are. That was from Terry. Charisse says, rethinking education, collaboration, and accountability. Absolutely. Leaving with the person in mind. Here's a question for you, Meika. Terry asks, are your classes limited in number, 15 to 1 or 20 to 1? How does that work?
As I did that side smile. No, we actually, just in general, I think that we do have the model of, you could think of it as a small class size. Now, with that, we do classes differently. We do what we call an arena model. And so that is a group of students that are traveling together to one core teacher, class teacher. They have the opportunity to, again, either go at their own pace, or that allows the teacher to kind of give them one-on-one. Our classes are about 50 to an hour. And so because students are working at their own pace, because we have such a flexible, we also have a flexible schedule. And this year, especially, we're using and have fleshed out what we call a personal learning plan. The idea of having a lot of students in the classroom is not as daunting as much as it is making sure that the support is there. And so what I mean by that is we normally don't have, I can't think of when I've ever had more than 25 kids in the class. And that's normally when I'm leading out a workshop and having that opportunity to educate them all in one and have them interact and be in a group. But because we have various different scheduling and students being there, but we also, the real reality is that our population, one of the reasons that why they don't do so great in a traditional school is this concept of seat time. They are more than likely always going to be absent because of some of the backgrounds and areas that they come from. And so we don't count that against them. It's one of those things of like, when you do show up, awesome. A lot of my kids can tell you that I greet them and I'm like, hey, how you doing? You ready to work today? You ready to get some credits today? Because I don't know when I'm going to see them next.
Right.
So I have to keep them like, oh, we're here. So then that means we're working. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Don't waste my time. I won't waste yours. I love them. I'm sarcastic.
And I know that. I mean, having known you for so many years, and just you have this edge about you, but people know how to connect with you. You know how to connect with them. So I can only imagine how, because of that skill set and that strength that you have of being a connector, how much it makes a difference for them and how much they remember you. I mean, I remember seeing like the first year that you were there and the graduation photos and all kinds of stuff happening, and you never think, wow, what did they have to go through in order to get to that path? How did they what did they have to go through to get there, and how incredibly momentous that occasion is for them, and then the teachers that really invested their entire souls and their selves into making sure that they could get to that moment so they can now look at the rest of their life with joy and hope and excitement. I think that's wonderful. One of the things I didn't share earlier with all of our viewers is that Meika is a Noyce scholar, and she's a star educator. So what's so incredibly impressive about that is that when President Obama, there was a program that he put to that came out during his presidency of 100K in 10, and that program was a purpose to create 100,000 STEM teachers. And so Meika was one of the ones that became a part of that program. And she is a Noyce scholar. So Meika, I know it's been several years, but the fact that you were able to actually get into that program and now you're doing something that's so very cool that I want to transition to our conversation to now is how you landed on Mars. How a part of you landed on Mars. So I won't spoil it, but you can go ahead and share your what you contributed to the work of the rover that recently went to Mars.
Yeah, so this past Thursday, it actually um, NASA and JPL, along with a lot of other countries, were able to successfully launch the Perseverance rover into out of Florida. And it was launched out so that it can pursue landing on Mars. I just got the date, so it should be there if it's successful. It should be there by February 18th, 2021. So, you know, around Valentine's Day, if you're feeling love, remember me and the rover. Just check that out as far as JPL and see where it's at. But yeah, I actually, being a Noyce scholar and some of the things that were around that, not only did they want to make sure that there were more highly qualified STEM, so math and science educators. They really did want to hone in on giving educators experiences of the real world application of those subjects so that they can make it less daunting, less separated from the students that we serve. And really tell them, like, why is it important that we have these careers or these skills. And so one thing, yes, students think about NASA. They think about, did we really land on the moon? When they think about Mars, they're like, are there aliens? Was there, things that are coming out in terms of, like, are they visiting us? Are they talking to us? But those are valid questions, and never again, or again, would never say there's a stupid question. But to know that at JPL, they really are asking some of these real questions that people still have. It's like, okay, if we're saying that there are aliens, we would consider that life. And so we need to figure out, is there life on Mars? And how do we do that? How have we done that here in terms of on Earth? Is through fossils, is through, running tests, looking for traces of life, which is, and then understanding what life is categorized. And so I worked at what they call the ABC lab, which is astrophysics, biology, biochem, geography, all of it to say it's the ABCs of science and how it all comes together. And in that lab, in this experience, I was like, whoa, mind blown. Because I'm just a biology girl. I actually fell in love with biology through genetics. Yeah, and that's about it. Human body system, nutrition, that's cute. But the idea that, all of science, different subjects can come together, and they come together at JPL, and there's an instrument that's on this rover that is preparing to collect samples. And so I think that's the other key, is that, as science is founded in technology and solving problems, it can't fix everything at once. And I think that is also what I take into consideration when it comes to the school that I work for and the students that I work for. This idea of a lifelong learner is real because the work is never done. I can't say, like you guys shared, that I will never know how my experience with certain students has truly impacted them until they continue to do what I'm having them start with me. And almost to say, I don't need them to change. I don't need any of their behaviors or any of their life circumstances outside of the classroom to change just like that. Just like we're not going to know if there's life on Earth or on Mars until we are able to, as humans, go to Mars and collect those samples. But the idea is that NASA and a lot of these JPL have the mindset and the optimism that we will. And because we will, we also have to create a database and we have to create something that will house the information that we're going to get. And so that's what I was able to help curate. And even with that, it was a foundation of kind of a transfer, um, the JPL ABC lab being transparent with the research that they have done already. So I actually looked at old samples. I was taking pictures of rocks. I was I was
Mm-hmm.
being real like on the computer, working with a computer science guru. I would like to say she was coding the website, doing all that stuff. I learned so much. I was around such a smart group of people that it allowed me again to see when you attach yourself to passion. Um, there's so many ways and areas of that it can go, but there's also, I guess you could say, money attached to it, or there's always going to be a need. And I just think about the project that I did.
Mm-hmm.
I picked it up, or even someone that can get the same internship to for the star can pick up the work that I did. And that's the beautiful part about science is that research always has to happen. We need to continue to build on it. And so um, just to know that I'm a part of creating, um, because I was a part of creating the database, when and if they, or I'll just say when they get samples from Mars, they will be in my database. They will follow the write up and the format that I use and created with the computer science guru. Again, I'm not sure how to call it, what to call it at this moment because she did everything. But all of that to say, I stamped the foundation, and so I'm just excited to know that I was a part of the foundation of science, and that it will continue to be built off of me. So I feel like I'm uh, she's losing me, but y'all, I'm feeling like the hidden figures. I'm just, I'm over here like they're gonna
I
make a movie
love
about
it.
me.
I love it. I love
They're
it.
gonna be like, samples from Mars make a difference. I don't know. They're gonna make a movie. Just put it out there. Claim
I
it.
love that. I love that. Terry, I love this. You're like inspiring people here. Terry says, "Oh my gosh, wish I was starting teaching career again. This sounds like so much fun. I helped introduce technology, and that was fun. But Mars, so jelly." She says. Joanne says students have such an interesting questions. Yes, they do. Um, Sheree said you became the student.
Yes,
Definitely, definitely,
yes.
Joanne. She is Meika is definitely a visionary. So, Meika, this has been great. I normally when I do my live streams, I always say hashtag built for this. You were made for this moment right here, right now, and with your love for music and your love for science and being a lifelong learner and being adaptable and just the passion and the accountability that you have developed in your own life that has transcended into your career that you're going to take with you as you're impacting so many people. There are women that watch this live stream and they watch my broadcasts, and I'm a part of my reason for even being here is because I want to inspire other women so that together we can impact the world for good. And I know that is what you're doing. I know that for a fact. I've seen you operate, I've seen the growth. As a matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen that are watching, a part of the reason why I'm even here and the Girl Ask Me Anything platform even exists was because of Meika's contribution to my life. And when I was doubting myself when it came to dealing with success and the fear of it and wanting to do something bigger, I'm like, hey, I have an idea. She's like, well, let's make it happen. Basically, that was almost how the conversation went. And within weeks, we were up and we were putting on the next women's conference. Now, of course, as the years have gone by, I've evolved more so into the leadership space. And but I just want to say thank you publicly, Meika, because you were a huge part of me dealing with my own limiting beliefs and my own doubt, my own fears about what I could and could not do. And literally, all I had to do was say, hey, I have an idea. You're like, let's roll. So
Well,
that,
and I'm not gonna let you stop there. And I know you might ask me something, but I'm sorry, I had to stop you. Like Kanye West. So I needed to let you know that you also, and let everybody know that she also is the reason why I was even a star researcher. She's the reason why I even got NASA. And knowing that in the time and place where I was, and continuously even after this, with how I ended up at Rise, dealing with traumatic mental health concerns, as well as just the transition between being an adult and moving out here by myself. Desiree helped me hone in on my strengths, hone in on the skills that I did have so that I could have the confidence to go out and apply for things that I didn't think I would get. I was just a small town girl from Kansas City, Missouri, little Niger girl, this one who did not become a doctor, but still ended up working at NASA. But it's the foundation of the circle that I was able to create. And while it was a small circle in the beginning, it is growing. But I will, Desiree is my day one. And so from day one, if I didn't have it in my circle, y'all, I wouldn't be over here mastering any of my skills and landing on Mars if it hadn't been for this woman. So thank you.
you are too kind. You know what? I love working with coachable people. And you were coachable and you were willing and you did it afraid. That is mastery. That is mastery. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, Meika. I want you to, like I said, I normally will say, we were built for this moment right here, right now, and if you could just give one word of encouragement to the women that are watching now and those that may watch this on the replay, um, what would you encourage them to do so they can lead on and press forward in the gifts that God has given them to bring to the world? What would you say?
One thing that I would definitely ground myself in is the idea of the power that we have in our tongue, the power that we have to speak and manifest our dreams and our purpose. As we just said, within this whole thing, I could have had a mindset of thinking of all the negative things that were happening in my life. Um, but because I know who I am, know my worth, and know, you know, God who created me, and just knowing the higher purpose and connection to my family and ancestors, is that along with that negative, there's always a positive. They come one in hand. And so always adding to that, my focus has been, just like my tongue has always been, on making sure I state the things that I want to see. And so as women, we aren't going to hear it all the time. We're not going to always hear that, hey, you could be a Black female educator and teach both science, English, or science, all three sciences, as well as be um, have an opportunity to work for NASA or go to JPL. You never hear that you are going to be a fantastic single woman,
Mm-hmm.
achieving all of your goals and living a happy life. There's so many words that can be spewed out at you that are negative, that will hold you back from your purpose and your goals. And you just have to combat that with speaking life into your own life. and speaking life into your other girls. And that we just again added to that example of we both spoke life into each other. We both made sure that we said, you can do it, we can do it, and we did it. So
Yeah, we
speaking
we
it
need
to
to
example.
we need to say what we want to see
Mm-hmm.
and then take action. Say we want to see and then take action. That is so incredibly powerful. So, Meika, I just want to thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be here to share with the Girl Ask Me Anything community and everyone that follows me on my business page. Um, I adore you. I appreciate you. I'm proud of you. Keep making a difference. Keep living in and walking in the purpose that God has put inside of you. You're making a difference, and the thousands of kids that will be able to come back and say, "Hey, you know what? You did it for me. Thank you, Miss Woma." So, I love it. Yeah, she says, "I love this. Iron sharpening iron." That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Let's see here. If there are any other questions, I don't think so. All right, let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I just want to say thank you to every single person that joined us for this amazing interview with Noyce scholar and star educator Meika Nwaomah. Meika, we appreciate you. We love you. We thank you for this time. Ladies, if you're not a part of the Girl Ask Me Anything community, you might want to join because we've got some amazing women in this group. And I'll be bringing more and more and more live streams to you. So we'll see you again very soon. Take care.